Sawadee Cup, April the 23rd. Willpower. You guys know willpower. No, okay. Willpower is the outgrowth of definiteness of purpose, expressed through persistent action, based on personal initiative. All right, we got a three-tier thought there. So, definiteness of purpose, expressed through persistent action, based on personal initiative. I kind of think you need personal initiative to do the persistent action, but that's just me. Whatever. Envious people, and we all know envious people. Yes. Sometimes attribute success primarily to luck. Nothing could be more wrong. As Coach Darrell Royal once observed, never heard of Darrell Royal, don't know who that is. But anyway, he once observed, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. I think he probably paraphrased that from somebody else. Success occurs when you have a definite purpose for your life and you take the initiative to follow through with action. You may make mistakes occasionally, or a lot. Everyone does, yes. But any action is far better than doing nothing. Yeah. Fail, fast forward, ready, fire, aim. I've heard that sentiment explained a lot of different ways. And yeah, it's true. Once again, Little Nicky. If you haven't seen Little Nicky, it's a good watch. It's a goofy. If you have the right person, if you're with the right partner, then they'll think it's funny too. But I think it's funny. Sandler made a bunch of goofy movies all in a row. Happy Gilmore, the one where he went back to school, Billy Madison, and Little Nicky. I mean, there's just this string of movies that he put together, and before he started doing, the one where he went to the beach with Jennifer Aniston. I actually haven't even seen that movie, and that's crazy because I love Jennifer Aniston. Who doesn't? Petite, big boobs, blonde. Yeah, I mean, she's got the package. But yeah, I haven't even seen that movie because Sandler's a funny guy. He's a comedian, and when he started doing serious dramas, I understand he wanted to grow as an actor. I get it. That doesn't mean I necessarily want to watch it. And that kind of ended his career too. And that could be because artists, be it actors or musicians, seem to have a shelf life. They seem to have a run where the public likes what they're doing, and then they just kind of forget about them and move on. I said the other day, it's very rare for a band to be around, 50 years like the Rolling Stones. They're the exception to the rule. Most bands come and go, they flame out. There's some are one-hit wonders, and artists too, not just bands. And some have 2, 3, good records that you hear about and you know about. Like you look at Def Leppard, right? They had a pretty good run. Or even a band like Judas Priest, which is still around and touring and making money and putting out albums, but they're just not a thing like they were, back in their heyday. And I was a fan of Priest. I listened to a lot of Priest albums. Yes, albums way before CDs. I had a record player and I had Judas Priest records, 33 RPM. I liked Stained Class. Not Glass, but Class, Hellbent for Leather. I like that era of Priest. Then they actually had a lot more commercial success later on with, what the hell was that? Living After Midnight, Rockin' to the Dawn, Lovin' till the Morning Then I'm Gone, and Breaking the Law. They came out with another album. I think it was called Point of Entry. After the Hellbent for Leather era. And they had a lot of commercial success, and they were a thing. Now, once again, they're still out there playing for money, but they're not as large as they are. They're not making as much money. They're not as popular as they were, or relevant to today's music as they were back then. So yeah, there is that. Um, a buddy of mine passed away the other day, which sucks. It's never fun stuff when people that you care about leave the planet. I don't know any details. Um, I went to high school with him. He was a good friend of mine in high school. We kept in touch through the years to the point where, hell, I was on a video call with him about 2 weeks ago, and I was trying to get him to come out to Thailand, and he was scared. A lot of people are afraid, and he was afraid to come to Thailand. I was like, dude, I'll make it as easy as I can for you. We'll find a place for you to live. The accommodations are dirt cheap, and I'll fly you out here. I'll pay for the ticket, help you out, get you started, and then you could. My plan was for him to teach English here. That's a lot of people who live in Thailand make their living online, and one of the biggest ways to make your living online is teaching English to foreign students online. You pick your own hours. It's decent money. So for him, it would have been obviously cheaper to live here. He would have had his own condo for a third of what he was paying for one room in somebody else's house. And he would have been making more money teaching online than he was stocking shelves at a grocery. But he was overweight, severely overweight, and he had been in the hospital recently. Something had flared up, and he had to go to the hospital and get it checked out. And once again, I just heard from a member of his church that he had passed away, but I don't know the details. Because of the shape he was in, I'm assuming it's something to do with heart attack or diabetes. Remember, 1 out of 3 people who have a heart attack die in their first heart attack. So that's what I'm leaning towards right now. But I wrote the friend back, the guy from the church, saying, hey, this is Lee's friend Greg, and I'm in Thailand. Can you let me know when you know more details? And he said he would. So it's sad. I was if I'd known that he was going to pass away this soon because probably he couldn't afford decent health care, or the doctors there just treated him instead of really getting down into the underlying things, because he doesn't have a lot of money. I would have pushed harder. I mean, I pushed. Me, I'm not gentle or subtle, but I didn't push hard enough for him to overcome his fear. Once again, I offered to pay and all that. Money wasn't the issue. He was just scared. So unfortunately, as powerful as my powers of persuasion are, he didn't take the. It also reminded me that story about the flood, where guys came by in a truck when a flood started, and said to people, hop in the back, I'll take you to the high ground, I'll take you to shelter. And they're like, no, we're good. God's going to protect us. Then guys come by, 4 hours later in a boat, because cars can't get up and down the street anymore. That's how high the flood went, how fast. And they're like, come on, hop in the boat. We'll pull the boat over. No, we're good. God's going to protect us. Then the house is flooding, and they climb up on their roof. Stay with me. I know people aren't going to climb up on the roof, but they climb up on the roof, and a helicopter comes by. The National Guard's been called in for the flood, and the helicopter comes by and drops a rope down a ladder. Says, come on up, we'll save you. No, God's going to save us. And then they drown, and they get to heaven, and they say to God, why did you let us drown? And God says, who do you think sent you the truck, the boat, and the helicopter? Right? Like the helping hand was there, and you had ignored it. So anyway, it's a bummer. It makes me sad. He was a good guy. And my dream for him was for him to come here, and whatever days he did have left at that point, which I of course thought was longer than it was, he would have enjoyed himself, because it really is paradise here. So I guess the lesson from my buddy passing away is, if you've got a dream, if you've got something you want to do it. Don't wait for tomorrow, because we're not guaranteed tomorrow. I guess his passing is more than anything a sober reminder that there's no guarantees. We're all here as long as we're here. And when it ends, it ends. So if you're thinking about doing something crazy, like retiring in Thailand, do it. When I pass away, and that could be tomorrow, and it could be 20 years from now, I don't know. I won't have any regrets, that I know, because I can't control when I pass away, but I can control how I lived until that happens. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. We'll talk again tomorrow, God willing, right?